So yeah, the one I normally use accidentally got deleted. So I was trying to see which one I used last. Not super happy with that face. I used to have a really nice face. I mean, look, um, so I thought it's a little butch, but at the same time, not so butch. I'm gonna go with this. I'm gonna change the hair though. Don't like that hair. To Radagon. Let's get going.
The fallen leaves.
Closed my eyes for a split second because of smoke and ended up going the wrong way. And ended up jumping instead of rolling. And, Yeah, it took way too long just to the first checkpoint.
Have you heard of the Facer? But you, I can play Turning Root to aid you. You need O to the foot. Then summon me. Ah, I bequeath. Use it. It will summon. A torrent has chosen you. Treat him with.
Oi! You! What? Some you were just... Thank you. I was pushed and I ended up as a... Oh, when they... so this is all I am. I hope... Or I could... Then I'd... Right. I'm...
This way, tarnished. May I have a word? A play and the word I'd heard tell, and upon the talk I thou art but call for. I was instructed by torrent's form. Forgive mine intrusion, tarnished.
You're, and I can also let you know. Then why not? I am Carly. Goodbye.
Alright, so I'm going to show you guys something kind of cool. There's like a batch of these fruit things inside of a rock. Yeah, right here. I can acquire materials, but I've looked up above and down below. There are no material. That material doesn't exist right there. It's just inside that stone. So when you're passing by that spot, don't forget to grab the hidden horror fruit, or whatever the heck they're called. And then I want to take my lap around. If I do that lap to get that guy a little more time to work his way down or to jump off. Sometimes he does both. Sometimes he'll work his way down and jump off. Yes, I took the turn really wide in case the barrel gets exploded. Sometimes you gotta take precautions because it doesn't happen all the time, but when it does happen, it'll fuck you up. It really mess things up. Now, if I wouldn't have been hit and was going fast enough, I probably would have got Blessings of the Erdtree right now. I tend to get it right here on this path. And doing the path that I'm doing today, you can get up to like 3 Erdtree Blessings. Which I never heard anybody ever talk about it. That play the game or anything. But there are situations that you can do at night causes the Erdtree to grant blessings. And I don't mean like the olden ways or days of the lore where it would shoot, drop liquid seed and it was carried out by the maidens. No, we're talking more like the leaves will fall from the Memorance Erdtree, like the golden Memorance, and it will grant us, as if we took the golden claw, golden talon foot, so we get up to 30% more runes per time that we're rewarded with runes. Normally for deaths of other, animals, creatures, things like that, enemies. But there's multiple different ways to get condition to set. I'm sure. The only condition I know for sure is within your first day, the first day to night. So the time that it takes you to get to Torrent, because that's when you use your first night. If you don't get hit or whatever, and then throughout your night, partway through it, you get the blessing, which then you'll see it with because you had a little icon thing on, you'll be glowing gold a little bit, and there'll be golden leaves falling. Come on, Rune Bear, leave me the fuck alone. But that's the first way I know to set it, or to get it to happen. And then the other ways I'm not too terribly sure, but they all revolve around pretty much nightfall, or around nightfall, where it's like dusk, dawn, midnight. Like, you gotta have the moon up. That's the important part there. You gotta have the moon up, and I think that has something to do with like the fact that one of the people that is acting as our finger maiden is literally supposed to be the twin moon, or the lunar moon queen. So now you probably think, oh, the lunar moon is the same damn thing. But we mean like there was no lunar eclipse, and that lunar eclipse was supposed to be the change of queenship and the lands between. And that is what we mean. Is like she is like supposed to be this next moon queen, which Renala I think was the first one. Being the one that figured out the moon magic and all that. But then this lady's supposed to be the next Moon Queen, but because of everything that was going on, Queen America, her mom, pretty much got her to kill the dad, her husband, Queen America's husband, and because of like situations that were going on and stuff, kind of talked about it yesterday some, where it's like things I noticed that were a bit weird was like some of the stuff being shown of Milica kind of, it looks like a guy transitioning to a girl. And Milica, in a lot of places where Milica is used, but not as the newer version of Millicane, or whatever it was called, your name before, then it's used as a male name. Even though it's a feminine name and all that, it's still used as a male name. While Melania, I hope I'm saying that right, is used as the female variant of the same name. And now keep in mind, like, that's been ever since like early 1900s. It's been like that, where Milica, I think, originally, if I remember what the thing is saying, was like late 1700s, and the name before it was used all the way up until the early 1900s. Millicane. And it used to be like a super prestigious name, and then something happened to the family who, like, I guess, where that name hails from, and then it became out of favor to be used. Especially since by the time that it became out of favor to be used, Milica was already being used for males, and Melania was already the new variant for the females. So, and then something I've noticed, like when I was listening to the game and stuff, and then watching different like archaeologists, tarnished archaeologists, and a bunch of other people that deal directly with the lore information and stuff, was I noticed that that like a lot of the stuff in this game, a lot of the lore and stuff, seems to be based on like 3 major points of what everything. Like everything is based on 3 major points. So we know that the guy who wrote the backstory, like they kind of came out and said they hired the guy that did Game of Thrones to do the backstory. But when we're just looking at the data and the information we're looking at and stuff, what they actually give us, what we're really seeing is this is based on some variation of Queen Elizabeth II, like the one that's most recently died, and her whole family thing. And so if I was to say, if anybody's anybody in this game, I was saying Queen Elizabeth, the second one that most recently died, would be equivalent to Queen America on here, while I forget her name in the game, the one with Scarlet Rot, I forget her name, that would be equivalent to Princess Diana, which Princess Diana's Scarlet Rot, which in case you don't know, Scarlet being another term used for blood, and rot, meaning diseased and dying because of their decaying. Then so we say, what is her blood disease? And I'm like, well, it's pretty simple to see. Like, Diana's blood disease was the fact that the position she was born in, she was born before Charles, right? So she was technically in lead for the throne, and they were in an age where it did not require her to be married in order to take that throne, thanks to her mother's rule changing some laws and stuff to allow that. So it would have been the first time that like a male was not going to be successor to the throne, right? while also being extremely well loved. So, not only was she the next successor to the throne, but people wanted her to be on the throne. So, Prince Charles would be right on, whatever his name is, the guy that fought the lady that was born with the scarlet rot in the game, and Milica was the one that figured out how to help her. And the whole point behind that, like, that's how I see the timeline set. Like, so if you just go into their history and stuff, you can kind of see a lot of the same bickering battles, problems in the actual lore of the game. So, like, for example, in real life, there was a king before divorce was even allowed by the faith or whatever. So the king couldn't just divorce, he had a wife killed, and then later on actually came up with divorce and managed to start legal divorcing after that. But we do see something like that whole situation, which would have been like Queen Elizabeth's grandpa or great grandpa or something like that. We see something like that in here, into the same setting, almost the same timeline difference, a little cramped. That's one thing we noticed, like in the lands between the actual physical land, it's a bit cramped for what you would see naturally. Stuff changes from one type of land to another type too fast. But considering it's a game and they're limited in complete space and stuff, to make sure it's a fun or enjoyable game, that makes sense. But also the timeline is condensed, compressed, and similar. And I mean that together, condensed and compressed. Just that's kind of how the land feels. It's a little bit condensed. Everything's kind of compact and made to ensure that they work, using vertical heights to represent huge distances that normally would occur between the two arid regions. All sorts of little tricks and stuff, which is cool, makes the game fun. But it does prove a point, I think. It proves that they're trying to make something that would take a long time to actually happen in real life, that would actually take a large space, the globe, for it to happen in real life. And just making it fit. So keeping that in mind, and there might be one or two generations missing out from the reality of what that seems like it's based on, and what we get in here. So, if in reality, what the situation I was talking about with the, it'd been Queen Elizabeth II's great grandfather or whatever, it could actually be like her third or fourth great grandfather. But in here, it would end up just being her great grandfather or her grandfather. In the situation of timeline, like length. So, keeping that in mind, a lot of this will make more sense. So, the second point to keep, so that's the first point. It's all about the family. The second point is all about the time. The third point is progression of society. Huge thing in here. So they have like this natural progression of society baked into the lore, which is cool. And it shows some form of realism and things like that. Possibility of actually existing. And, shows that people actually cared a little bit about this story, which kind of makes people feel happy about it. So, but how, what, when, why, that kind of thing, right? So, basically, when you have societies, you tend to have bestial societies. And we say it like that, I know that's not normally the way it's said. I say it like that so it's easier for people to understand where I'm talking about in the timeline of the game compared to in reality. So when you have young societies where it's more village-based, it's more raw. There might not even be like a written language, or uniform written language. So those bestial societies, it's gender role controlled rules, and we say it like that because it's like if we look at animals, we see, like, say, tigers. Male tigers don't always hunt. Female tigers tend to do the hunting. But when a hunt is large enough, or threat enough, or too close, males definitely get involved. Whether it's a threat or food, it doesn't matter at that point. When one of those things occur, then yeah. So we see this. So we see those types of things here, where, for example, also with tigers, the women take more care of the children, the pups, the cubs, than the men do. But there are large portions of time where men spend the majority of time with the children, just because they are the ones left there to protect them. So those are gender-based roles. Those roles are separated by gender in their society, and it's been set up like that way, not simply because of their gender, but because of the structure of their bodies and stuff, based on their gender, because of their gender. So, for example, the women in tiger women tend to have more stamina than tiger men, but tiger men tend to be like way more strong. So one male tiger can protect a larger area than a single female tiger. So they found over time, well, if all of the female tigers get up and go in the pack, the single or two male tigers that maybe sometimes packs of 3 males, they'll be able to handle everything else. So when probably the male tigers were running off, they were coming back to deaths and problems. And this is just concept. This is just like from the evolution of animal societal that we can. Humans had the same thing where men would go hunt, and then eventually they figured out some areas men don't need to do the hunting. When hunting is less fruitful and it's more gathering, it's more obtaining, then yeah, it's just simple, like, hold on, I forgot what I'm doing, yeah. Then it's just easier to go, okay, well, let's just let the women go off, then we'll stay behind and ensure everybody stays safe. Like, it's a job that both men and women can do, gathering food, right? And it would make more sense in most cases if the man stayed behind, just to ensure there's a little bit more strength in the pack at home. Okay. That's kind of the point right there, right? So those over time they figured those little things out. Then you start seeing, yeah, the men stay, the women go, and then over time as they keep moving around, we start seeing it more and more and more. Then they find out, hey, in areas where hunting is still needed, women can go out and hunt. And then, same situation. It just takes more women. Takes all women compared to like maybe the 1 or 2 men, but same thing. In actual societies, like with humans, we went from individual independent villages where it might be one individual family or a couple of close-knit families. They might have brothers and sisters that never actually separated. They stayed close, and eventually you start to build a village of family. So that's a bestial, humanistic village where it's more family-based than anything else. And then the changeover from there with the animals, is finding the aces in the hole, which then became multiple, and with humans it became actual villages where you have multiples of families working together to stay safe and, whatnot, to survive. So we see that in here too. We see all that stuff. We see the progression going from those types of societies to industrialized societies to like, well, like from that to tools, from tools to weapons to. I completely missed my rock, and I forgot to grab the thing. Ah, I completely fucked up. 30 minutes and I completely fucked up. I'm talking too much. I gotta stop talking. Fuck. Anyways, but yeah, so we just see the progression of society. So we even see all the way up into this game where we see, what I'm thinking is, we see transhumanism, we see all these little things in here, omens coming in, so that's bad blood, things like that. All that really did happen at one time. Transhumanism was a problem for a while. Bad blood was a problem for a while. Well, actually, bad blood still is a problem. Things like what we'd call most physical retardation and mental retardations. They do believe, like most heritage or scientists that deal with timelines, heritages, and stuff like that, they do believe that a lot of that is from like what was called blue blooding, where it was only royal families mixing together. Which a lot of times those royal families, even though they were spread apart, were the same family. You know, there would be like a lord in one area, and then, you know, a month's ride away there'd be a lord in another area, and they might actually be family. You know, as in like cousins, like first cousins or something like that. Maybe even actual brother and sister that never met. Because the way things worked back then is having multiple lives and lives was easy. I.e., if you're only going to be in a place one, like there were times where when you went and visited places, you know, that might be the one time you ever go visit a place. Like something you see in movies is you see in movies a long time ago, like Medieval Days and Death, you see everyone always moving around, always traveling. In reality, that wasn't as common. Oftentimes, in reality of like those times, that era, if you went traveling and it wasn't for war, that you didn't normally go back to where you came from. It was normally one way. Even so, where there were entire professions around the ideal of one-way traveling, where you could hire someone that would basically travel one direction, do one specific thing, and they would record everything. So depending on where you're at, those landwalkers or waywalkers, wayfinders, travelers, druids, what's the other ones they were also called? Not atheist, not anarchist. It starts with an A though, I believe. Alchemists, all sorts of different names. I can't even think of them all anymore. I used to have a list of them. But, and the point of these traveling jobs was just simply information. A lot of times what it'd be is a king would say, I need to know what is this direction of me, or I need to know what plants are around here, or is there food that the people can eat that I don't know about, all sorts of different things. And they would hire these people basically. I mean, give you all this whatever. A lot of times gold or something, or actual supplies. And you rewrite, draw everything you see. Everything, you just make an entire record of everything. And then whenever they get to end destination, end point, whatever their whatever was, and oftentimes the whatever was when they died. Upon their death, they would normally have a return this to so and so. And oftentimes, before they died, they would set up in kinship, which I don't think people use that word anymore, kinship. Nowadays, if you're using that, you're probably thinking like a sibling, or like a child, or a parent, or a cousin. But in reality, a kinship is someone who takes over for you as you. So if a druid had a kinship, their kinship is someone who basically takes their place after them. Oftentimes, with these kinds of like travelers and stuff, it would be their kid. It actually would be their kid, and they would, in these areas where this kind of jobs were more common, you see the tradition of every male has the exact same name. Or I've even met families, every person has the exact same name. And we're talking about first names too. And I know in some Portuguese families, every male or every first male will have the exact same name, first, middle, last. Everything perfectly exactly the same. No first, second, thirds, nothing like that. And that tradition came from waywarding. And waywarding is the act of obtaining a kinship in the name of. So you've been given a duty that the lord or king or whoever hired you believed it would not take you your entire life to make it there and back, and you are not going to be able to make it back, and so you have to have someone in your name appear, and they don't have to look like you exactly, but they have to be as you can be, and raising your child to be exactly like you was a common thing because, well, it worked for you, right, your life. But we're seeing all this in here. I think that's like really important because even though it is condensed, where what would normally take 8-9 generations for ideologies to be present because of different hardships and points and stuff, the people who wrote the story and the lore for this game knew that certain things would be needed and wrote that into the story for this accelerated timeline, so to speak. This condensed and compressed timeline. So a good point to point out that I pointed out yesterday that might help you understand what I mean is like, so yesterday I was like, yeah, Mikola is transitioning to a girl, which does two things, because like basically in the game, in the story, which is kind of true for most societies, women, even though super important, we're always considered second class. They're basically needed to ensure continuation of life, right? And they've always been kind of treated like they're not needed. And in the game, it's the same thing. So women are highly regarded, blah, 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 but the second they get married or they become, goddess and lords, gods and lords, because in the game, gods are pretty much your women and lords are your men. And I know that's not completely true to every point aspect, but if you look in this game, that is more of how the game is portrayed through the writing than anything else. And we see a lot of this proofs, like Queen Marika takes on the body of her husband, who was married to somebody else at the time, who technically is a god, but also a female. And in that unification, that perfect uniforming, or merging or marrying of the two, they take now the same body. The Queen Marika is stuck in shackle, in a Great Moon Arc shackle, inside the Erd Tree, only being allowed to give births. So someone who's super highly regarded, super important, everybody loved her, blah, blah, blah. Oh, now she's reduced down to just a slave. It's the best way to describe it. And in society, like, that's kind of how women, for the longest time, were treated. We have to have you, so you're a slave to ensure our survival, whatever. Marriage is what marriage was. Slavery to ensure survival. And a lot of times, like, you can say we have women coke, blah blah blah, and lots of different things. And we saw that in this as well. But something we did see, first divorce. America no longer wanted to be married, where in reality, this timeline, it was the male that did this. This time it was the female that did this. And she got one of her kids who was not really known. While a lot of her other kids were real known and stuff, this one's not really known, kind of young. Most people don't know this one's existence. Got that one to do things because, you know, pain, agony, and hatred in the heart, you can get them to kill. And then went to the old queen, and the old god, Queen Rennala, and caused a problem with her and her husband already. So then, in order to get Queen Rennala on her side to do things that she wanted, like rebirth, like rebirth one of her kids, and in a new manner, because she doesn't have a physical body, so she can't, continue doing it. Because she is also in the body of her husband, she gets her husband technically to give up a piece, or her husband gives up a piece of him to her. And so basically she, the new queen uses this new body to manipulate Queen Rennala, the old queen, who was married to this current body, or who used to be married to the body, to do things, like I said. But what that does is that sets things in stone for what we have here. Black Knight Assassin situation, the fight with Radon and what's her name, the Anila fight, so you see all these different things, whatever, and there's a lot of like good points and reason and put behind everything, but we see the points. If they weren't there, it wouldn't make sense. So Mikola transitions to a female because he sees, when he's young, before his younger sister is born, he's pretty much the only, there's no women. All the women are either ex-married, previously married, currently married, or dead. So before his younger sister is born, he takes it upon his path that, he needs to become a woman. Think about it like this: his only other sister, who's older than him, was born with this scarlet rot. It's killing her, and in their family's power, there's nothing they can do about it. But Mikola, the one guy, figures out how. He uses intelligence to figure out how to save her, which before they couldn't figure it out because they only used faith, belief, and thought processing and stuff like that to fix things. And he used intelligence. Unalloyed gold was more pure and cleaner to use for like surgeries and stuff, and the pure gold was keeping the infection of the scarlet rot at bay. Kind of like how silver for the longest time was used to keep fire wounds at bay, or the pain at bay, to keep, brass was used to keep toxins at bay. So we see that here with the unalloyed gold and Mikola. So Mikola makes the change from male to female, thinking that he does this, he's going to remove that natural, we have to have the women, but they're just shackled once they're married. So this gives, because basically the way it works is the women is the prime, the men are the secondary. You have to have the women, you don't really have to have the men. I mean, still they're somewhat needed in life or whatever, right? But at the same time, men always act like they're the prime even though they're not, and women are not the prime even though they are. So we see that flip. Well, he goes, well, if I am a guy who is the woman, then there is no flip. I am equally as powerful as I am praised. And I know that sounds probably a bit strange to be able to say like that. But think about it. All the men, especially in the game, in life and stuff back in the day, the men were praised. Okay? While the women were doing the real, generation making. And a lot of this game is around control of life and death. Well, not death, but control of life. Basically, they didn't have regular people. Didn't make babies like we do. The Erd trees made all the babies. So you didn't get to pick who lived, how many people were alive, and things like that. The Erd tree did. There was kind of this like natural randomness between all that. So when we saw the America change, when America taking upon the body of her husband, does a couple of weird things. It shows that both men and women technically have equalized. Like, women have the same equal whatever as men, for the reason why men are considered powerful. Not physical strength. But the other one. So women are equal to that. The ideology of whatnot. And then, him becoming a woman or whatever would then allow him to do the things like new births and stuff. And so he was growing this Erd tree with his own blood to take on his own, concept, beliefs, blah 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 blah. DNA, passing of knowledge, things like that. Waywarding. He was growing it to be him, but as a tree, so to speak. So he could, as they say in the game, have unalienized life. So at the moment, the gods control life, the Erd tree controls life. To him, he was saying that's an alien form, because it's not us doing it, it's someone else. We don't want control of it. So this would then allow people to control life. Who gets born, how they get born. So that's a reference to, like, childbirth, condoms, things like that. I know it's not something you want to hear every day, but that's the reality of the fact. Like that in a society, being able to control how often births are made can be very helpful in society. It can allow... hold on a second, I just realized my mouse is super low. Yeah, my bad. So, being able to control that, you can ensure you don't overpopulate, you can ensure you don't destroy the earth or destroy the resources. You can ensure wherever you guys are at, how you guys can keep that going. You don't overdo things. Things can be manageable. Because in the time of the Golden Order, when the first perfect fusion of Queen America and her husband, there was a lot of good things, a lot of excess, and from that excess became a lot of the problems, not the misbegotten, but like, well, the begotten, or the time, the old bestial intelligibles, the beasts that became intelligent, that slowly were granted knowledge and wisdom, the power of 2 extra fingers. They went back to being dumb. They realized they were basically slaves and went back to being beasts, while humans were able to kind of prosper. And again, that brought out omen, bad blood, all these different things from the time of this great time or whatever, but also from everything that happened beforehand, the way things were being done, where only worlds were going into each. So we've seen all these problems occurring because of the past all the way up to this point, right? And then because it's in the time of plenty, you have more kids being born and stuff, these things become a lot more apparent. And I think that's really what it is they're a lot more apparent, a lot easier to see, it's a lot more noticeable. and it's not really that it's more of, it's just more noticeable, and it's during the time frame where the ideals of regime were changing from the old was good to the old is not the best, which shows progressiveness ideology, which we're seeing right now. In like real life, we're seeing a lot of people saying, "Oh,
I've been
you know, the
to
old days,
determine
olden
if
ways
you
are
have
bad
seen
just
Thorin,
because we
whereas
don't
I
want to
merely
do it that way
pretend.
no more."
There is, but I can take you gathering.
We see that here. So then another thing you're seeing here is like
rest upon you
the whole
for but a moment.
if Miquella would have succeeded. So one of the reasons why Miquella didn't succeed is Radon stopped the stars, which prevented his tree from needing the moonlight change, needing the lunar eclipse, the moonlight change.
Greetings, my name is
It needed to be
Elizabeth
briefly
Roundtable.
dissipated
I never knew the
and
guidance
rebrought in
bestowed upon
to a
us,
new.
Tom, although
It's where
I'm
lunar
still
eclipse is
looking for my-
considered back in the day. It was things changing anew. Radon took this because he knew that meteor would strike immediately after his hometown. And if that happened, a lot of magic would be gone. So that's representative of like faith belief, and he's trying to protect that.
It's all a bit
So the
still
stars
looking
showed
for-
that his
Well, I don't believe if I do. I suppose
consideration,
I'll
like
ask
he
Matt
believes in the
certainly. I
olden
know
ways,
he
right?
can tell.
He wanted to keep the golden era going. He wanted to keep the golden order and stuff intact, and he didn't want anything to change, really, other than like maybe who's Lord. And so he like freezes the stars to ensure that basically nothing changes. Everything stays as it was, so to speak. Or the golden era just continues, but under a new lordship. And that's what caused a lot of the problems. Is that caused Miquella the tree not to be made. It caused one of his brothers to pull him out of the tree before he was transitioned and converted, and tons of issues.
Back already, no matter.
And then his sister, who would have been Queen Diana, basically, kills herself
I don't.
and ensure to. The ideal behind that, I made it pretty present yesterday, which I don't want to give completely away, but basically, you know, it would force everybody who doubted her and Miquella to then go seek Miquella for help, or die. So either you be gifted a short, painful death instead of a long, painful death, or you go find Miquella and be granted. But the problem is Miquella died around the same time frame, unknowingly. When you know, late, she didn't know. So, yeah, it caused all these issues. Or that the new retreat dies, the new way concept of life dies, and it's on now. The thing is, though, the new concept of life for, like in this game at least, what they were talking about, would have actually been pretty decent, because it's not like it was like, oh, you know, like what we have right now, where it's pedophiliism becoming
Welcome to I teach,
normalized
think,
and a bunch of other
that
weird
one
stuff.
day ensuring
It's
open way.
in here it was more like
You do. Most times
having
you are.
choice. Everyone having choice. Everyone basically having rights of their own.
May the
You wouldn't
golden-
have randomization for birth. People would go get their own due, and they would do their own births, and it would be upon themselves to do things. It would be a more decentralized society where both the men and women could perform the same actions and wouldn't be, you know, downtrodden or anything like that because of it. And so it came down to that's what would have happened. That kind of stuff would have been going on. And so we don't get none of that because of everything that happened. And I think that's also an important part, like, because of everything that did happen, we wouldn't have been happening, right? None of this would be going on. Instead, what would have happened was, Queen America's husband would have died, which would have freed Queen America, but she wouldn't have been able to stay queen, she wouldn't have had a physical body, which then would allow for a lord to take over, which would have given the opportunity for Milica to become the first queen lord of oneself without any other entity, which they would have to fight that with Rhydon. And they wouldn't actually have to fight Rhydon for it or anything. Because not only do they have their own separated everything for all that, they could just go there and wait and give people the choice to go to them. But because of what happens at the Battle of Analia, and a bunch of people get the sickness that only America knows how to solve or fix, means that a lot of people are going to go look for them in order to live the next, to live longer. So it's either purposely live shorter and have a shit life anyway, no matter what, or, do something. So I think that was kind of the goal or whatever, but the problem is, something that happens all the time, is the olden people, the olden ways and stuff, they say, no, I don't want things to change. I want it to be exactly the same. And you kill things off. Kill people off. They cause problems. Where am I at in my list? Oh. And it's like, I know that's like just my theory or whatever, just an ideal, but just from what I see, it doesn't have to be true or anything.
Wait. Well, you're back. The howl of a... I suppose he... Next time you hear... Don't fret. I just haven't...
Now, if you're still here and you're listening and stuff, then you're probably wondering what the hell's going on and stuff. But basically, I'm just doing a run where it's pretty simple. I'm just like setting up a run for new people to be able to do, get them pretty squared up with everything they're going to need for most gameplays and stuff. And then by the time I'm done with this run, like, you're going to see me getting armor I want, weapons I want, and then slowly upgrade myself, and yeah. I'm going a little slow. I'm normally going way faster, but you can check out my live stream the other day. First like 2 hours is like non-stop, me boom 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 boom, and then after that it was me going, what now, I've never beat the game. I think the first I've gotten is like I got Godric killed. I think it's the furthest I've really gotten. I don't know. I think he's the only one of the demigods I've been able to kill.
What do you need? I don't want any...
I said that wrong. Seeing the light hitting the edge of that rock, I thought it was a rune skull. I hit the jump, but it's a little bit too late. I'm having a shit run. I'm like an hour in, and I'm right here. Oh my gosh, I have to leave. Oh, nope, 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 no. Fuck no. I was taking twice as long as I normally do. No, 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 no. No. You know, you just hit me. I don't have any music playing. I normally have my music running in the background. Oh. Alright, there we go. Maybe this will help us set the pace. Alright, this is gonna be for legit this time. I'm gonna be legit this time. I'm gonna push. Now, I got 3 markers I use for timing, so as you guys saw, I leave and come back for the rat. Sometimes if I got sometimes I'll do a sacrifice instead. I'll just put on the sacrificial twig and let it kill me. If I don't have a lot of runs, I'll just let it kill me sometimes. But for the majority of these runs, I'll leave and come back just to, so I can, because I got fast travel anyways. You know, I'm gonna have double loading screens, and at least let me just have one of those loading screens speed loading in the game again. And then I do it again for what's her name at the Caria Manor, the ghostly former. What's her name? So, and then I do it for patches too. So I'm normally at Caria Manor doing, normally when I do the, I'll even come back for the Caria Manor, it's an hour and 30 minutes on average. So that's what we're looking at.
Have you? They, sir, but you. I can play turning to aid you. You need only to the foot of. Then summon me. Ah, I bequeath. Use it. It will summon torrent. Treat him with.
Yeah, I completely forgot to do that on the elevator earlier.
Oi! You there? Some you were just thank you. I was when I ended up when they so this is all I or I couldn't then I right.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck's going on there. Just hitting the wrong combination of buttons.
This way, tarnished. May I have a I am the witch. I'd heard and upon the talk thou art to call for. I was entrusted by torrents. Forgive mine intrusion, tarnished.
You're it, and I can also that you're not of then why not? I am Carlin. Goodbye.
And we have Erdtree Blessing. You notice I did not use a Pickled Golden Fowl-foot. I don't think I have one, but yet it's active. And if you pay attention, you'll see the Erdtree is dropping golden leaves, which is what it did when it would drop dew, or it's sap. So it's not dropping sap, but it is performing an aura enchantment for us, which now allows us to have additional runes from deaths, from kills and stuff. About 30% extra. See, right now, if I was playing normally, and I didn't care about the time, I probably would fight all of them right now, just for the extra runes.
Welcome, dear customer.
And then as you can see, as we leave the area, or if I would have got hit enough or killed, it would have ended as well. But here's the thing, if I cannot be hit from now till next time I enter that similar or same type of area, there being direct presence of the Erdtree, I could still get the blessing. I can get it like 4 or 5 times. I've gotten it up to 3 times in a single run. So what I mean by 4 or 5 times, like 4 or 5 different places that you can actually get it from. Dang Rune Bear. Rune Bears are gonna make me change up what I'm doing today. I don't normally have as many problems with the Rune Bears. I can normally just outrun them. But I am not having that kind of luck today. So you need to hear this Mistwood sounds so we can ask about it. What's up with those Mistwood sounds, bro? I hear those howls, man. And what is that? And so, you know, this is one of the spots you could get the Erdtree Blessing in as well. And there for a second I thought I was going to get it. I really did. Like it was starting to show it, and then, nope, it just ended. So it's probably just ending the visual from when it started earlier. And then this is also a spot where, like, this is all the same area where you can get the Erdtree Blessing. And then you can have this same blessing all throughout most of Caelid. And Dragon Barrel. It's another place you can have the Erdtree Blessing. Like for example, if you was doing this run, and you had the Erdtree Blessing right now, like I have runs on Odyssey that I have the Erdtree Blessing in this point, where I would have had it running past that field I was just in. Well, that little church thing by that field would have started a fight. If I could have had the Erdtree Blessing during that fight, and like I basically would have got a free pickled, golden pickle crow frog or Foulfoot. I'm calling it crow. Foulfoot. So we got 30% more. Oh, we got 30% extra more runes from winning that battle. If I would have killed him, like got him killed one try. And so little things like that could be taken advantage of. Like earlier, I could have killed all those people in that fort if I did not without getting hit and stuff. And so there are situations and conditions where you can like basically the game will give you free runes, free this, free that. You just have to set the setting to make it happen. And I don't know what the exact requirement is to get the Erdtree Blessing. I just know how to get it started the first time. From the first day to the first night, don't get hit. And then end up in a spot where you have direct view, or you're in direct view of the golden old Erdtree, or the Erdtree Remembrance. Because it's that big Erdtree Remembrance that actually does the blessing. That's what's actually giving us that 30% rune boost or whatever. Yeah, if you try really hard, and you go a little bit faster than I'm going right now. Like say for example, you don't go talk to the guy who is pretending to be the tree or whatever, the bush. You don't talk to him and you run this. You can actually have the Erdtree Blessing in both these forts, which means technically you can make both these forts quite profitable. And keep in mind, I am playing one-handed. I'm only playing with my right hand. As you can see, I'm using the Logitech G305, 502, the G502 Hero. As you can see, the little Noah board display I have in the bottom right-hand corner. That's a custom Noah board display for the Logitech. Go ahead and find it on GitHub under Logitech _G3502. I know it's misspelled or whatever, but whatever. It'll live. And you'll be able to have it pop up on here, and it's got 3 settings specifically for Elden Ring, and this one right now is set up as Elden Ring, but is considered generic, which means it can be used for anything you need it for. And so you know, right in this spot right here is the other spot in which you could talk to the guy who is a tree. And if you talk to him here, you can actually get up to where I'm about to head to without going through this little path right here, which can be a little bit faster, but I haven't worked out all the details to start running it that direction. So where I'm at right now, you can get up in here without going where I just went. Especially if you talk to that bush tree guy first, like right now, around this time. Because right where he's at, the path to get up in here is over there. Oh, come on, let me have it. This is one thing I absolutely can't stand, is trying to collect stuff sometimes can be a pain in the ass. The game won't let me, just won't let you grab stuff sometimes. And when I first started playing, I didn't have this mouse. I had something else. And I really thought, oh man, why can't I grab it? It must be my controller or my, I was doing a trackpad at the time. And then I get the mouse and stuff, and I still have the exact same issue. It's like, nope, it's just the game. Sometimes I think it's some of these things are set up where, like, for example, getting these free runes, they make it a little bit more difficult. First they got the guardians, you know, like the little rock piles that explode, the goat you just saw, these things. There's another one where the guardian is wolves. I think we're gonna pass that one. There's one where the guardian is plants, you know, milling powder or flour or whatever. So you got different guardians, but then also like being able to just pick them up in general. Those ones, those runes on those coffins are the hardest, and I think it's done on purpose just to try to get you killed.
Everyone is.
But I don't really know for sure.
You're heading to enticed by all that, but I don't have. It's scam. I want on nothing. Can you take? And it'll be glad of you. It was a pleasure. Oh, tell them I love them. Finally getting that.
I did that twice in a row now. I 100% forgot about this thing. 2 times. And it's weird, 'cause I just have to go over the ridge. But I got so used to just like following the ridge that sometimes I forget it's down here. Yeah, so the reason why you always see me like jump in the air, even if I don't need it, like when I'm falling or whatever, is I can immediately dash after that jump. I can immediately dash. Well, if you just fall, not only do you slow down partway falling, but you cannot immediately dash. You have to wait like half a second to a second before it lets you dash. It sucks. It's like there's a way to get out of the scene you just saw me in a little bit faster too. It has something to do with block, but I haven't figured it out yet. I don't remember, so I haven't figured out like exactly how to do it. Yeah, last time I was with this guy, I couldn't remember how much money I needed. It was like 3,500 or something like that. Why won't it let me grab the fucking thing? Fuck. This is what I'm talking about. Sometimes the game, I just want to scream and I'm like, just fucking pick up the shit. See it pop on the screen, and then like I'm turning the mouse as hard as to do, and instead it just runs around in the perfect circle instead of actually hard turning. And I'm like, come on, man, like, what the fuck? Now that's actually a blessing in disguise. It's only 400 runes. I don't know. Yeah, to see how long it took me to fall, even though I was like just a tiny bit off the ground, it still took the same length of time it takes for my horse to do a jump. So if I would have just jumped mid-air, even though it was literally like inches off the ground, you know, that would have been technically like a foot off the ground in real life. Yeah, I would have, the travel distance might not have been equivalent, but the time to take would have been, based on because of game mechanics. Oh, come on. Pick it up. Oh, I didn't even tell you to do that. What? Did it pick up the... I did. Yeah. I'm like, I didn't see it pick up the smoldering butterflies. It attacked when it wasn't supposed to attack. I had to tighten the mouse because it's starting to do things it's not supposed to. In case you're wondering, this mouse has a mouse. The mouse wheel has a lock on it, so it only does like one click at a time, or else you can just do a bunch of clicks. And it was set to allow a bunch of clicks. Wait. Now I used to, when I went to the, you know, the path to the Magma Worm, I would get to that point, rest, go to the table, hold, and come back and do this, go to the South Warrior Gate, and then come in, and then go here, go through Bellum Church, and then go to where you're going to see me go to. And then I found out, well, if I did it in this manner, not only do I cut out like one entire loading scene, but it was actually just faster to run. from where I was, the ravine, all the way up to where you saw me building church than it was to go through that loading scene. And something I hear often people say is because, you know, like the rules for speedruns on this game specifically, they don't count like a lot of the different screens, you know, like when you're not actually playing, which I think is kind of stupid. We used to include all that. But loading screens are oftentimes included in some of the speedruns. And I'm like, you know, I kind of grew up in a time where we excluded that, but we included everything else, and now it's kind of the opposite oftentimes, and it's getting confusing. But yeah. So if I was doing a speedrun, doing it this way, again, would still be faster than going through the other way, even if you weren't counting all those loading screens. And I think it's strange that quite often in this game, things that seem like would take longer, seems like, oh, it takes 45 seconds to make that run, when they'll already do it twice. And I've heard some people be like, well, we'll just run up to Bellum Church first, go over, and then fast travel to Bellum Church. And I end up with the exact same number of loading screens then. And it ends up taking about 15 seconds longer than if I just run it. Even if you're not counting the loading screen, you're probably going, well, how does that count? You're not counting the loading screen. Da-da-da-da. And it's like, I'm not entirely too sure. But, yeah. If I just run it, it's like 35 seconds. If I do the loading thing, I end up about 45, 50 seconds. So I don't really know what's up. Just to do the same action, to get from one point to the church, not the church, but the gate where you pass through the gate. Yeah, from the ravine all the way to there. And it's just, I don't get it. And it could be because, like, when you do fast travel, sometimes it can change from day to light and from night to day and things like that. And I honestly think that has something to do with it. I don't know. I could be completely wrong. It could just be like the way I ran it. I don't know. I'd have to do it again and record it again. I think it's on Odyssey. Last time I did it, it's like two different streams. One where I did it one way, one where I did it the other. And then I just recorded, like I just compared the data from both those. So maybe I just need to do like a recording where I do one, then exit, do a whole new game, get all the way back to that point again, and try it the other way. See, that's the other thing, it can take a while to get to that point. I thought about like doing block saves where you have a save and you can create a copy of that save, so you can just repaste it and reload from it. So you can like work on specific sections that you're running and stuff. But when I initially tried doing that kind of stuff for other games, like a long time ago, where you would split the run up, practice, but then you try to do it all at once, it comes down to you would get to a point where when you're doing it all at once, you'd forget what to do or what to do next because you never got used to doing one and then immediately the other. And you got to be in that mindset. So I just been like, no, fuck it, I'll just keep starting from the beginning and doing everything. And in this process, it does take longer to go through runs to work out problems and stuff, but I always end up with a better setup or a run or something. In this case, for me, the better part of what is run is it just make it easier for someone who's less skilled in the game. For my case, that's me.
Forgive to determine if you had. It seems my torrent, whereas I'm in. There is, but I can take gathering place. Very well. Let my hand rest upon you for but a moment.
You know, I just realized. I forgot when, if, depending on how you sit, depends on how long it takes for you to perform that action.
I'm still looking.
Like, I just got the long action just now, I think. Cross-legged. It's long action. Maybe that was what offset my data last time. Is one, I had a long cross-leg pull, and the other one didn't have cross-leg pull. I didn't think about that till just now. And I was like, why did that take so long? That seemed like it took long.
It's all a bit. I'm still looking. I don't believe I do. I suppose I'll ask. Certainly, I know I can tell.
Back already, no matter. The girl. Oh, it's absurd. I don't doubt.
Welcome. I teach and explore this so that one day ensuring all the way. Most time you, well. May the golden...
Well, I took you no matter to lay out your own. You're back.
The how, I suppose. Next time you don't fret, I just haven't it. Goodbye.
What do you need? I don't want any a sewing kit was I always.
Damn. Although I die often on this guy, so it doesn't surprise me none.
ready to.
And see, now we're here in an hour. Huge difference. Oh, I mean, not really a huge difference, but probably could have got here a little bit quicker. Like, I probably could have got here a little bit faster. Especially if I didn't die, right? I mean, I think I'm gonna take that route I just took to get to that one guy. I think I'm gonna do that more often, just because I can get a closer load spot.
Cheers for that. Well, well, well.
Who goes there? Carly sent you. The name's Bloody Flags. Come tell me if I can offer you. Darrow and in need of a fit.
I just realized I'm going the wrong way. I don't know why I would do that almost every time though in this spot. I don't know why.
Welcome, dear customer.
I guess it's just I see certain scenery and I automatically think, oh, I need to go to that fort because it's early on. But no. Don't worry, this is a pain in the ass spot anyways. I tend to die 2-3 times here, and I'm completely prepared for that. I've had people tell me that if I get off my horse I do better, but to be honest, I actually have better control of my horse than I do with my person. As you'll end up seeing later in the game when we're stuck when we're in horseless modes, you'll see that, yeah, I can't even try to make jumps or stuff, or that would just always fall. And to be honest, earlier when I was falling, I honestly thought I was going to fall into the dome. So I didn't think I needed to bother adjusting, which is why I did just fall. Ugh. Damn it. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I had jumped on a ledge. I just didn't stand there long enough. I had to let the, yeah. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. There's sometimes I do this one try. Like, I don't even try. I just fall. And that's the most part. Like, the ones that are really good, yeah, ends up just being falling. Like, I end up never having to double jump. And see, that's what I mean by like, when you do it right, you just fall. That end. You get on it, and if you're on it just right, by I mean you get on it and you just stop. As soon as your character comes to a complete halt, it'll slowly fall off of that small little ledge. As soon as it falls off that ledge, you just jump straight forward and you'll find the next ledge. And you just keep repeating that process. There's only 2 ledges that will completely stop you. And that was one of them was the very first ledge I stopped on. And then, because there was a ledge above that I could have gone if I skipped it. And then I skipped the second ledge that will completely stop me, because it's actually about ground level with the rock on the corner. And a quick tip, if you have a problem with these guys right here, in this area, anytime you have a bat or a flying creature, and this ground plane I'm on right now is the bottom ground level, which means if I drop down below that, it'll switch screens and that's it. Well, if these creatures get below this ground plane while you're fighting them, they'll fall. Because it's the lowest plane on the point that they can be at. There's nothing right there that we can stand on. So, it will just automatically make them fall. Wait. I forgot to rest. You gotta kidding me. Nope. Okay, so I was supposed to rest at the bestial thing. I completely forgot. So... put that on. Let me say hello. Normally I would just fast travel from here. But like I said, I completely forgot to rest. Yeah, it's right there, rest. Damn it. Yeah, I completely forgot to rest. So if I don't rest, I will still not remove it. Now if you want, you can try running there. It takes a bit. But if it's nighttime, when you start running, you can do the night cavalry bridge hack and like save yourself a lot of time and stuff. But like when I say time, I mean like trying to kill them. You can get it to where he'll jump off the edge and kill himself. But if it's not nighttime, it's not really worth the run. That's the only thing really worth doing for the run, besides you pick up some ingredients. But you damn near die a bunch of times too, so. And so, okay, so in this spot, you'll see I'm like holding forward, so I'm like always walking forward. I'm looking, see that? Did you see what 8,000 in a hit? So, that's what I'm looking for. There are tiny little spots that, when you get it just right, you get 8,000. I've gotten, because like, you can get it in succession. I've gotten my little ticker up to 18,000 before, just like this. And just because I found the right spot a couple of times. So I got the 8,000, sometimes 9,000, more than once. Plus, you know, the additional hits. So the thing is that it seems to be you need to be on a slope of some kind, and you need to be hitting a point where it has the main center real near it. Right there. Because I think what we're doing is we're technically hitting 2 spots at the same time to get this like a weird critical or something. And the slope seems to be kind of important. Okay, that was fucked up. I hate the skirting on the spirit jumps. So yeah, that's quite obvious. That should have worked. I was like literally almost inside the part of the spirit jump. It's like, god dang, bro. I was pretty much right there, just facing the direction. Oh, come on, go up. Oh, I hit the wrong button. Let's try this again. What the fuck? What the fuck? I just landed on that exact spot earlier. Or off this side though. But what the fuck? It's little things like this that just make me want to scream. I have to go up there a third time now. The only reason why I used the spirit jump trick, I did not mean to fall, and I just lost all those runs. Oh my god. No point in continuing this run. That's fucked. Like 100% fucked. I think I actually fucked myself for the whole day. Two shit-ass runs. I need some coffee.